Load my Twitch just to make sure it's live. Yeah, it's live. Okay, good. Let me mute my Twitch so I'm not getting echoes.
Sure, let me find
Mute. It's already
your
muted. Sorry.
Twitch.
This. I mean, if you have it on, you'll have it muted so that we don't like echo or anything.
Oh yeah, it's just so I can see chat.
Yeah, of course. I have chat open in OBS too, so get my notes up and then let me ping Tachyon Cutter.
Yeah, it's not ideal if I'm starting to record again. Am I doing this? That I still find it weird hearing my own voice on videos and streams.
I
and
do
stuff.
too, and I watch a video every week of mine. Well, I don't post, but
Yeah.
on my friend's Yu-Gi-Oh YouTube channel, I'm on his series, and so with 3 of our friends, so I'm used to it.
You must be crazy busy the amount of stuff that you do.
Not too bad. Most of my leagues are ending, which is good. Thank God.
I mean,
I'm down to like
I guess
4 or
so.
5 now, which is good. And after like this cycle ends, all I'm gonna be doing is GPL, so we'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, right now all I'm in is BPL and one off season, and I want to be GPL when that
I mean, I want to
starts.
be in
But
nothing ideally, but I don't want to miss GPL, so I need a break. I'm so burnt out, but it's fine.
yeah, GPL you can't miss GPL though. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
no, it's GPL. It's awesome. Anyway, I pinged Tachyon Cutter. Let's give him like 2 or 3 minutes to
cool.
stream in.
Yeah, sure.
Let me get this back
Oh
open.
God. I was looking at, and I don't think this is like spoilery if anyone's joined the stream or anything, but I was looking at our rankings for some people, and my first thought was that we've not gone as different as we normally do.
Yeah, not as bad.
Because normally there's like a couple that are miles apart, but there was like 1 or 2 that I noticed.
I think our biggest difference for these is like maybe 6 places, which isn't terrible.
I think one was 10.
Oh yeah, there was one that we really disagreed on, but other than that, they're all relatively close.
Yeah. Other than that, yeah. But I imagine it's going to come down to a difference in like philosophy, I guess, because there's one team that we both disagreed was low. Sorry?
On the big one, yeah. On the big one, it would definitely.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up the rosters again, actually, ahead of time, just so I don't confuse myself, which is easily done.
Okay, waiting for people to stream in. I don't see anyone. I see. Welcome, chat. Let me know if Shinrai's volume and sound and everything is okay. Once you guys.
Yeah, I can easily turn myself down.
Yeah, I can alter it too. Oh, sorry about the coughing, everyone. My asthma is really bad today. I don't know why. Let me get this one. Nope. Yeah, hopefully some people remember it's kind of not made yet. That's okay. What's up? Well, it's not. I have way too many windows. I need to start closing so many windows. I had a window for like every week, but it's starting to become excessive. What can I close? Oh, I can close LAT because I'm out of playoffs and that. I can close.
God.
Seriously. I'm out on DTT, so I can close that. And that's all I can close. That's okay.
Seriously, like I said before, like I've got 2 leagues and I forget to prep for the off-season one half the time.
I'm terrible at prepping. Hello, Croc Hellonitis. Let us know if Shinrai's volume is good. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit so they can just hear you to make sure?
I can talk a little bit. What would we like to talk about? We can talk about our feelings if you want. But...
Maybe. I am feeling
no,
tired.
maybe not now.
It's a
bit early in the day for that.
Night. They haven't said anything bad about it, so I guess we have 8 people in chat. I guess we can start, and people will stream as we go. He could be turned down a bit or 2. Okay, sure. I can't. I should be able to do that. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Let me scroll down to the PR call, and then user volume. Let's try. I scroll to 83. Hopefully it's better, and I scroll down to about 80%.
Okay, apparently I was louder than you, but maybe it's not so bad.
It's fine now. Yeah, hopefully it's fine now. If he's too quiet, let me know. But I think we're okay. Well, with that said, let's get started. I guess we're almost 5 minutes in. So welcome everyone to Tachyon Cutter PRs, which is one of our D2s, and let's just get right into it with team number 16, which is Will, who we both had at 15th. So there's a rain team. Chloe.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Um.
I put the Rain team in Burning Bulwark at like second because I thought it was amazing, and this one I really don't like. This one feels a lot more reliant on Rain than Kyle's Day in Bulwark to me.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, Rain for me, it's I part of it is I wasn't judging it as a Rain team. I was judging it as a Pokemon team, and as a Pokemon team, I think Rain is not that good. I think it tricks you into thinking it plays itself, and you can fall into the trap of autopiloting way too easily. And yeah, it doesn't play itself.
It's definitely a playstyle that requires some nuance, and I think that's kind of what's lacking here.
Yeah, I know it's a cliche to see Ferrothorn on Rain, but there's a reason for it.
I think Treads is fine for that role, but that's just me.
Treads is fine, but like, what's switching into like an opposing rain boosted water move against you?
Yeah, that's true. I guess Manaphy. Oh, like AVR Chowdon probably can, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. The one thing I would say though is Terra Manaphy is crazy good.
Good point. And that was the Terra Floatzel. I don't know. That's a good question. Terra Manaphy's good. I don't know if I like it on Rain, honestly. I don't know if that's the optimal Terra choice on a Rain team.
Optimal, maybe not, but I think that it could carry it through a matchup where the Rain is struggling.
I guess, yeah.
And it's the kind of thing where if you're trying to slow down the Manaphy by toxicking it or something, then later in the game it's very easy to get a hydration. That's true, yeah.
I will say the biggest problem is, God, it's so slow. It's so slow when Rain's not up.
Mm-hmm.
If Rain is ever down, everything freaking outspeeds you. You got like a 106 speed max. You don't have good Scarfers. Like, if your Rain is not up, you are getting slammed really hard by something, and that's not a good position to be in. Like, this team is just so reliant on Rain. Obviously, has the giant Rain typical issue of freeze dry, but that's every Rain team. But my bigger issue is it's just so slow outside of Rain, and you have to bring Pelipper every game with this team. I guess you could. The only 6 I could see working on my Pelipper is like what Manaphy, Arch, Fun DT, Togekiss, Overclow, Treads. But that's not that great of a 6-mon core when you don't have the Rain.
No, and on the speed issue, I was going to say that it's made even worse by the fact that Thunder T and Manaphy both really want to run Modest.
They do, especially Manaphy.
And
Manaphy
so
really needs Modest to do enough damage usually.
Yeah, timid Manaphy goes from like obviously really really scary at +3 to kind of like, oh, I thought that would do a bit more.
Yeah, timid doesn't pick up those O codes you want that Modest typically does. I guess the Rain might help with that, but still.
Yeah, but like we mentioned before, Manaphy you don't want to. No. Although, honestly, I feel bad being very harsh because I would have put any Rain team low because I just don't respect it as a playstyle, but that's a me problem.
Rain, if it's done well, that's why I had Kyle so high in Burning Bulwark. I think he did an amazing job of a team that has Rain aspects but can function well without it as other modes, whereas this just doesn't. This is just like Rain.jpg, and there's nothing else it can do.
Teams that are just a thing, like a terrain, a weather, and nothing else, and they can't survive without it, that they're always going to be mega inconsistent.
Yeah,
and even on their best days, it's never going to be perfect.
Yeah, I know Will is a solid player. He whooped my ass in BBDS, but like, I don't know, this is going to be rough to pull off. And I do think this division has enough decent players that it will not just steamroll everyone. I hope it works because I would love to see Terra Manaphy and Rain doing stuff, but I'm just don't have faith in this team.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Terra Manaphy is going to pick up a lot of KOs. I just don't know if it's going to be enough to make up for the
pretty much. It's kind of carrying the team. And I don't think Manaphy is that great as a solo Terra Cap either. I feel like usually you want something else paired with it.
Yeah, Manaphy was 25 points, wasn't it?
No, Terra Manaphy? Close. It was pretty low.
Oh, was it? Oh, only 20. Oh, that's not too bad then, actually. I thought it was
because there's only 20, I would have preferred a second Terra Cap because, it's not that expensive. Like, 20 is expensive, but you can handle all the really top tier ones. I know. I just don't love this team. I think it can be done better, and I don't know. I'm not sure exactly how exactly to fix it, but I know I think it can probably be reworked a bit. But I know it's fine. Rain is fine. It's just it's really Rain. It's very very Rain.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah. But
cool.
That kind of there's not much else to talk about. It's a pretty simple team. So I guess we move on to number 15.
It is, yeah.
Number 15, we have Starfish, who we both had at 14th. So this team has a lot of really strong mons on it. I just don't like the synergy. But, I mean, Chomp, G-King, Cinderace, Steela, Dracovish. Like, that's a really solid Then you got the Grimstone for screens and like Zoro to play mangas with Bish, which is kind of funny. I don't know. I think the team's gonna be inconsistent, but it did do work week 1. I do know that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think the synergies kind of. I think Chomp Glowking's great synergy. I think Steeler works well with them. I think Dracovish is really out of place here. I don't really agree with you, to be honest.
I think it's fine.
I think Dracovish. I think Dracovish tends to over centralize itself in the games that it's in. When games where Dracovish does well, it's because you're repeating it, getting in, and just smacking something. I don't think this roster super appreciates that.
I
but
mean, it has like U-turns, chili reception, U-turn, Zoroark parting shot. Grim, I think it has enough momentum to make it work. My main issue, my biggest issue is like, God, you're gonna have to run Rock or Chomp every game because, okay, I'll preface this: I have seen Starfish do stuff with Pineco before, but he is not consistent. So like, Garchomp is going to be your hazards every game, which is not ideal.
Yeah, and it's also Pineco is not consistent enough to be your only removal option.
Yeah, that's the other
which is terrible, to be honest.
Well, I mean, Cinderace, but I don't respect Court Change. I don't think it's a very good move.
But if you want to bring spikes or rocks on Chomp or toxic spikes Glowking, then you're not going to want to bring Court Change as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of rough, especially when Cinderace and Abomasnow hazards. Also, hazards are really rough for Zoro Bish as a pairing because the rocks chip will give away which one it is unless you're very, very careful.
Yeah.
And like,
something I do actually like.
I don't know. You don't want to boot your Bish. You really don't.
Boots Fish is not good. Yeah. Something that isn't really part of how good this roster is, but I want to point out this fun. They've got two mons with disguise abilities.
That is very cute.
Which I've not seen before, so I think that's fun.
That is cute. Yeah. Another thing I noticed is no Encore, which is kind of annoying just for opposing setup threats. I mean, you do have like Thunderwave, Taunt, Prankster, Grimstone, which helps. You have Mimikyu. So there are what I call anti-bullshit measures, so it's not the end of the world, the lack of Encore here. You know, it's not
there
great.
Are, but...
I mean, it's still probably fine. And then Ice types kind of screw you. Like, what are you doing about a bundle or a Kyurem? Like, I don't.
Oh god, yeah.
I guess Glowking can't.
Bundle you can get by with an AV.
Kyurem is not going to be fun for this team to deal with at all. Ice types in general. Weavile's another one that kind of smokes this team once Steelix gets low. Just Ice is a really big weakness here. I don't know. Like, I don't hate this team. I think Terrabish is very good. I think we underrated it, but I think this team supports it okay, but I think this team's going to be really carried by Vish, and I'm not sure if it's consistent enough to do that.
Yeah, it was mainly a case of I looked over it and I didn't, my notes on it were, pretty positive in general, but I just found that in most other teams' case, I could see a more sort of cohesive plan defensively or offensively, and I just felt that this was a little bit mismatched.
I would agree with that. I think it is a little disjointed. I do like the team, and I could see myself running something like this, but changing out some of the pieces a bit. But I like that top 5 looks super fun, and like I'm a big Mega Snow believer. I'll say that, but I don't know. This team just feels like it's gonna be very linear in a lot of matchups because Garchomp is forced into hazards, which means that you can't really run a 4 scale shots. That's very often. I mean, actually, could like run Rocks SD scale shot if it's a real set, but then like Glowking and Steel is like an okay defensive core. I don't know. I feel this team is gonna be forced into a lot of games into hazards, Chomp, AV, Glowking, Vish doing Vish things, and like probably go on Zoro in most matchups because of the Vish. It's like it feels like this team has a very linear game plan, and while that can work, and Star is a very good player, I don't know how well it will work in the long run.
Yeah, if your game plan's super linear, you want it to be a really, really strong plan, and I don't know if this plan is quite strong enough.
I would say it's strong, but I don't know if I'd say it's strong enough to carry a team with just this simple.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
but I don't know. I think the team's fine. Like I like it a lot more than I liked Willow's for sure. Like significantly better, but I don't think it's like enough to be anywhere above like this low, really.
Yeah, my bottom 2 teams, the team I put 15th and 16th, were like I knew they were my bottom 2. From 14th upwards, I was kind of like a bit shaky on the next few picks in terms of what order they went in. So 14th isn't totally sort of reflective on my thoughts. It's just the way it ended up.
Yeah, I was kind of similar on that regard. My 14th I kind of knew, but like I think it's a huge step above my 15 and 16 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a feature. I do like this team. I just think it has some issues, but like it looks so fun to pilot. I'm not gonna lie. Like I would.
Yeah, there are gonna be some games where everything just goes perfectly.
I would love to use this, but That I guess we can move on to number 14, which is Chelsea, who I had down all the way at 16th and you had at 11th. So why don't you start with what you like about this team?
Okay. Yeah, let me find my notes real quick because I don't remember anything about when I wrote about these teams. There we go. Yeah, so I think Terra Mew is crazy.
It is.
And I think it supports Katana really nicely. And I think Ogapon H actually is a very good both cart and comp partner. I will fully put my hands up and admit I put it up in my rankings purely upon seeing Stack Attacker.
That's fair.
So, you know, um, that I'll hold my hands up to that. I did have a lot of negative notes as well, which was why it's 11th. I wrote in my notes, you might as well forfeit the Lando I matchup now. Because
I don't remember I assume Landers was drafted in this division. I'm not sure. Let me look.
It was drafted on a Terra Coco team, right, which is also quite scary. But yeah, there is no Ghost Resist. Crobat's the only ground resist and only Defogger, which apart from Terra Mew, and Katana, but Defog Terra Mew is I think a complete waste of Terra Mew.
Crobat's a pretty good Defogger though, but I get what you're saying.
It is, but every game.
Yeah, and with Heart Flame, you really need that removal is the thing.
Yeah. I also had that there's some like very common offensive type combinations which are really, really difficult for this team to handle. So ground rock, fairy plus fire or fighting because we've got legal hidden power and terror, so it can happen.
Yeah,
ice and fighting and ground.
Really rough, yeah.
Yeah. So
Crobat's kind of gluing this whole team together almost.
Yeah, the reason why I put it higher than you, I think, is because I kind of imagined myself in a game, and I'm looking at a Mew, Katana, Mega Garchomp, Sylveon, Ogre Heartflame, and then one of Seismitoad, Galvantula, Crobat, most likely. Yeah. And I did think that is a decent team that's going to be threatening.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't like
by the way. You can keep going.
Yeah. I wasn't sort of immediately like, this has got some obvious glaring problems. I think it's got big overlaps, don't get me wrong. But I think that in terms of what I think it's trying to do, which is a lot of overloading physical sort of defensive pieces with Ogapon, Katana, Garchomp, and then you've got a nigh perfect cleaner in Mew, I can see it.
That's fair. I say a lot of issues with this. Normally, I normally don't have my types, but no Dark is really rough here because there's no Ghost Resist, and then the Psychic checks are what? Cart? No. Stack, I guess, but almost every Psychic gets ground or fighting coverage. And then Mew, which is tearing out its Psychic type in 90% of games. So your answer to both these Psychics is really rough. I guess like your best way to break down is like Kartana knockoff, which is fine, but Colber's so free. No ground poison in a team that's extremely weak to T-Spikes. Mew hates T-Spikes. Chomp and Heartflame are item locked. Sylveon doesn't really want to run boots most games. Toad can, I guess. But T-Spikes are a huge problem because they wear down Chomp and Mew, and you need those healthy to win the game. You don't necessarily need Heartflame healthy, but Rocks plus T-Spikes will wear it down really quickly. But like Heartflame is hit coming a couple times, punch things, die him on, so that's not the end of the world. Only priority is Mew Vacuum Wave, which is okay, but not great. But you have the speed to make it work. Welcome, Sparkling Hydra. Is that hazy? I'm not sure, but welcome. I'm not sure who Sparkling Hydra is, but yeah, Starfish he did really well week 1 despite not really like his team much. And again, just Ghosts kind of destroy this team. Like, look at a Dragon Ball into this. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Thank God Spectre isn't legal, but that legitimately would 6-0 this team.
I mean, in the Dragapult situation, they have got a Sylveon, to be fair.
I mean, yes, but I guess Sylveon kind of helps. Also, like, it's not that hard to just pivot around on the Sylveon, though.
No, it's not. Especially if you've got the T-Spikes, like you said before.
Yeah, I know. I just really don't like this team. I think the top 3 were so good in such an amazing start. I feel like it's kind of fumbled the bottom 6, but that's just me. I do think Terra is broken, but I don't think it's enough to carry the team on its own.
I think Sylveon. I think I'd include Sylveon in the top 3, so top 4. But yeah, it is weaker. The reason why I think I disagree with you is a lot of the criticisms that you're sort of levying in terms of the defensive typings, which are criticisms that are completely fair and valid, are for a longer game, and I cannot see this team trying to play a longer game.
It does, yeah, that's true. It does have to play a short game, which does maybe make the Toxic Spikes issue not as bad, because if it's not going to be alive that long anyway, it shouldn't matter. I know. I just still think this team has a lot of issues, and if it's not, this is another one where like you need to position it near perfectly, or else you are going to get smacked and abused.
Yeah, and it is just occurring to me that is a lot of the time a forced scarf cart.
Oh yeah,
like
because your Hearthflame can't run a speed boosting item. Your Chomp can't. You don't really want to Mew. I guess Galv is a decent scarf. I've run that a couple times recently, but Cart is good after Scarf a lot, which is not. I mean, it's a good Scarfer, but you don't want to have to do it every game.
Yeah. But, they have Stack Attacker, so I put it higher. I like
Stack Attacker. I love Stack Attacker. I think it would be a lot better with Terra, but I think we did tax it pretty heavily for Terra, so I understand why they didn't.
Yeah.
It's like, team is okay. I think every other team is miles ahead, minus maybe Willows.
Fair enough. I mean, there's going to be a team later that I think we have a reverse opinion on.
Yeah.
So...
Terra Stacker was super expensive. We probably can move that down, but it did kind of destroy a whole season in D2, I think. So we did.
Let me have a quick look at how much it was on the board.
The stack had an insane season. We moved it up as a result, which it was already like 2 or 3 tax already when we had that insane season.
Yeah.
We can take a look.
So base Stacker is 7 and Terra is 13.
Okay, that's a lot.
Which is crazy.
6 is a lot to tax. Even for a mon that good, that's probably too much. But yeah, it's a cool team. I'm just not sure how functional it will be.
Yeah, fair enough.
Hey, let's move on to our number 13, which is Magma, who we both have about the same. I had at 12th, you had 13th, so I guess I'll go first on this one. I did. Cool. Let me pull up my notes real quick. I did generally like this team. I think it's a lot of cool pieces. I think every mon here is viable, bar Gligar, but it's not that so Gligar is usable at least. Unlike PDX where it's garbage. I don't know. I like the mons. I don't know. That's a big thing for me. Is I feel like every mon is viable. I mean, I don't love backs on here, but it works. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. To me, it just didn't. The synergies didn't feel right to me. I mean, it felt like good mons one after the other, but then the final product just didn't gel.
Meowscarada being the only real speed is rough. Also, rocks are a problem because your removal is a Gligar and you have a Chi-Yu and a Baxcalibur. And while Back Timber boots every game, Chi-Yu does not want to.
Yeah.
Chi-Yu really doesn't. I mean, at camera boots, it doesn't hate it, but he really wants the option for Specs or Scarf available.
No, I mean the removal thing was bad, as you say. I mean, to be honest, hang on, sorry, I'm trying to read my notes and I was very tired by this point. I basically just felt that it was pretty middling, to be honest. I think that it has the tools to get through in certain sort of stronger matchups, but I think if the matchups against it's going to struggle to sort of
100%
overcome that.
Yeah. This team is also kind of fucked by fairies once Crown Terras, unless it keeps its Terra Steel, which is a big.
Yeah.
Like Iron Valiant has an insane matchup into this. Enamorous smokes this team, unless you're like specifically like AV Crown with like a Terra type and resist fairy. And I was gonna mention the no grounded poison, but I don't think it's that bad on this team because like your main mons are affected by it. Or like Bax and Chi, which are probably running boost. Meow, which is pivoting in and out. Prim doesn't mind it. Prim minds it. Kovac minds it. Paldean Taurus minds it. There's no removal, but a lot of the mons don't mind T-Spikes. So ground poisoning is relevant. I do wish it was there. But I don't think it's the worst because enough of these mons don't care about T-Spikes that much. But it is relevant. It was one of the things I wrote down as no ground poison.
Yeah, I mean, I always think that even if your roster isn't quote-unquote weak to hazards, it's still really not good to have middling removal because you think about something you think about something like Tapu Lele, right? Even when like just rocks are up, you come in 2 or 3 times and at 75%, the amount of things that can KO Lele at 75 but not 100 it's a lot, and so it does make a huge difference.
And Sparking Hydra, a poison definitely would have helped with the fairy problem as well, which I agree with. So I do think a poison would have been helpful here, but I don't know. I think this team is fine for middle of the pack. Like, I think it has issues, but I think it's more functional than most of the ones below it. And like
Yeah,
the
no, I'm
Mons
with you.
themselves are fine.
The thing that I felt was, like I said, I felt it was a little bit, I didn't think that there was anything that I was feeling was particularly egregious. I just kind of, there was nothing that made me go, oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
That's going to
nothing
really take
nothing
the
is
team
mind blowing
forward.
on here. It really isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you went too top heavy. Nothing here is really that high expensive except Chiyu and Meow. Like Prim, Crown, Sandy
Yeah.
Shocks,
And,
Tauros,
and,
Kovac are all mid tiers. I would not call this top heavy
yeah,
at
and
all.
also, yeah, and running two dark types but not having a fighting type on your team,
That's a
or
little odd, yeah.
an offensive poison or something. Well, you do have the fighting in Taurus, I should say, but like a strong fighting
Yes,
type.
though.
Or a poison or something. It feels a little bit like, yeah.
It definitely, this team has some missed potential.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's okay though. Like I think it does have its glaring flaws. Some of the teams below it, but it definitely deserves to be this low.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yep. Alright, so we'll go on to number 12, which is McNutt, who I had up at 10th and you at 12. So I guess I'll go first on this one. 1 second.
Okay.
So this team has a lot of really good mons. Like I know, like you're saying, but every mon here is viable, and this is a team where you have to prep for all 8 every week. And the game has matchups where you will have to prep for it. So like I like the idea of Iron Jugulus and Mega Blastoise and Melmetal and like Nihilego with terrain. Those are all really good abusers. And I don't think you need the terrain abuser, but it's fine. Terra Nihilego is really solid. We saw it last season in a couple divisions. I don't know how to feel about Terra Coco. Because no Terra Blast makes me feel like it's not going to be that great, but I could be wrong. It just doesn't have
I mean, I think it'll be quite a strong... I think Coco can just be a really effective sort of stab Terra user.
Yeah, Terra Fairy
I mean, it's
really strong because it gives you 2 really strong things.
Yeah, because it feels like it barely has a Fairy stab before, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, generally I like this team. I do wish the team had spike support since that would really help wear down those steals that this team that struggles with outside Landorus. Like Melmel and Nihilego both really hate steals, and Landorus obviously helps, but I do wish he had spike support for sure.
Yeah. You were talking before about how you really have to prep for 8 mons, and I agree, but I actually felt that this team was kind of bordering on quite linear, because I thought that Mesprit and Blastoise are next to are almost as mandatory as anything else here, because Mesprit and Blastoise are your only real sort of bulk in terms of longevity, like something defensive hit taking. I mean, there's a Buzzwole
with Mesprit I think that's pretty good defensively in Melmetal.
It is, but what I was trying to say is I think every week it's going to be Coco, Lando, Mesprit, Toys, and then one of either Mel, Metal, and Buzzwole, and then one of Nihilego and Jugulus.
I can see that.
I think when you get to a certain point, then you're looking at, right, well, Mesprit is your only sort of bulky rocker. Toys is your only bulky removal option. I know you have other ones, but you want to leave it to your offense because this is an offensive team, right? So you want to be having Coco, Lando doing offensive things. And I don't know, I felt that in that, Melmetal and Buzzwole were a bit too samey to me.
They do high performance functions, that's true.
And I felt that in that 6th mon slot, Nihilego just totally outclasses Jugulus. I'm not a believer in Jugulus personally, I think Nihilego just
better. I still don't love it. Yeah. I will say I didn't have that many issues. Like the no spikes is a big thing. I think this team would really appreciate that. Lack of priority outside Mega Blastoise, but that's not everywhere when you have like really, really good Scarfers and also Coco's pretty good elite speed and like Jugulus gets the speed boost. So it was all fine. I know I didn't think this team was terrible. I liked the Mons. I think they function decently well together. I think it could be improved, and there were just a few things I didn't. It's mainly like I don't mind to see. I think it could be improved. Was the main thing. Like I think it's solid as is, but I think it could have been done better.
Yeah, I mean, I'm to be honest, I kind of really struggle to get past the fact that it felt like they got to pick 3 and they left their picks and they said, "Oh, I want Melmetal or Buzzwole," and the person who received it heard and after that it just kind of I just don't understand having both of them. To be honest, I really don't understand it.
I kind of see the vision because it opens up one to be defensive and one to be offensive in any given game. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but they've both got effectively the same stat spread.
They're both high HP, high physical offenses, low SPDF, and like middling to terrible speed.
Yeah, and they're also both fire weak, which you've got one. Well, you've got Nihilego as well, but Megatoys is your main real resist.
And
Um,
fish,
and
15, 16 was Willow and 15 was Starfish, and fish. Since you were asking,
yeah,
yeah, I know.
but yeah, I
I do
mean,
agree with
I
that
can
one
see
though.
this game win. I can see this team just winning games off the strength of its mons like alone. I mean, it's a really nice blend of wall breakers, cleaners, revenge killers, setup
And
sweepers.
pivots.
They've got adaptability in their offensive sets and who takes what role. And they've just it's not something that we talk about a lot, I don't think, in power rankings, but just the base stats are really high,
That's true.
which does make a difference, you
I
know.
mean, every mon
So
here is like, I think every mon on the team minus Meganium is at least 570, which is insane to think about.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. I
because they're
mean,
all
in that sense,
legendaries,
it
and I
is.
think the Paradoxes are like 570. I think the Ultra Beasts are also 570. But, like, that's a lot of
Yeah,
stats, and Blastoise is pretty high. It's like 635 or something like that. Like, this team just has a bunch
yeah.
of stat sticks, and that's not a bad position to be in.
Yeah, I mean, it'll get you out of a lot of sort of positions. Because I mean, you can go the other way and get in drafting where you just sort of checkbox and need this many resists,
And
and then
then
you
your
don't
mons
realize that
aren't
you're
as good,
filling
yeah.
the yeah, you're filling your ground of poison with
Arbok.
I don't know, yeah, Arbok or something, and you're never going to use it. That's not the same. That's not the case on this team. So,
Yeah, every mon here is viable. Even Megame's decent this gen has like Encore and knockoff. So yeah, I like this team. I
it gets Encore now.
It gets Encore now, yeah. Because everything gets fucking
Oh, I
Encore
didn't know
this
that.
gen. Yep, but yeah, this no, it's a solid team. That's kind of why it's like low middle.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think 12. I mean, obviously, I put it 12th, so I think this, but I do think on balance of both of our lists, 12 makes
It's
sense.
yeah. Okay, on to number 11. We have Free Day, which this is the one that we really differed on. So I'll start with why I
Yeah.
really like this team. Which this is one of my top teams. I think it was tied for like it was tied in like it was like in the my range for like if I do second for six, we're all really close. I ended up putting this at six just because I thought it was a little. I liked it a little less than theirs, but I still think this team is like crazy. So I'll go into it. One second, pulling my notes again. I have to control F4 numbers, which I don't know. Um. Well, again, really high mon quality. I think I actually kind of like the dragon spam here. I really like the dragon spam here because Tusk breaks steals like nobody's business. Tinkaton hits fairies really hard, as does Gomorrah. So I think the dragons are supported adequately. I actually think the dragon spam is done really well. Has really good hazards in Dio, Tusk, Tink, Glim. Really good removal in Tusk and Glim. So I think Terrazarud is broken. I honestly would advocate for it to like 23 or 24 next season. I think this one is absurd. And like it's got good speed. It has everything I look for a team, and I honestly don't mind this overlapping types because they generally can deal with. They have the pivots to into the types that are issues. They have tank for fairy and ice and dragon, which are all like obviously dragon issues. They have like they pivots into whatever you need, and I really like the team. Has good momentum. Zarude and Moon and Amph. I don't like Terra Bastion's kind of funny. I don't think it's great. But, hello, Iceman, welcome. But yeah, I know I really like this team.
Yeah.
I think I mean I'm biased because I love Dio. Obviously, I'm a big Dio believer. I think getting Dio round 3 is absurd.
I love Dio as well, so I can
I just thought
join
this
you
team
on
is
that.
really good. I think the fact that it's so robbing had me a little more in the higher spot. I think if you're good, do like a type spam team. This is a really freaking good one. You did not yet, Iceman. These are a really good
Yeah.
way to do it, in my opinion. And I
I
guess you can go into
I
why you
just
hate this. So.
really I really don't agree. This one for me was a really easy bottom, to be honest. And I guess maybe the way you play it is a big part of it. I really don't agree that it deals with the types that deals with Dragon well. Like if you look at the best ice types, you're looking at Kyurem, which Tinkerton is 2 at KO but
It's
gets
not.
2 at KO by.
Split F
You're looking
Tinkaton
at
isn't too
Bundle,
good, I'm pretty
which
sure.
what by like a
Earth Power.
like a modest Kyurem.
If it's specs, probably. I don't think it's 2 a KO otherwise. I might be wrong though.
Mm. But you're
Battle
still not
Type
switching
helps.
into Moonblast. You're not switching into Terra Namorous, which I know this div has. You're not switching into Valiant at all. So it's not dealing with these things at all. Close combats, this team does not take with common
That's
fighting
true.
type
That's true. Dio,
coverage.
Dragonite are
Um,
not great. Switch into that.
no, they're not. And this has got to be the only team in any division whose only steel resist is outsped by adamant melmetal.
That's very funny.
Like,
oh no, it isn't. Ampharos 45.
well, it's like it needs speed investment, but if like what I'm trying to say is if you're running bulky Ampharos because it's the only double iron bash resist, then Melmetal's going to outspeed it, and Melmetal just it claims every single time it comes in, unless you're running something funny like a Terra Water Bastiodon, I guess. I just the problem with the dragon spam is I think this kind of thing works on ladder because your opponent doesn't know what's coming. But I was thinking about it, right, and something like Life Orb Hatterene I thought of, because you're tempted into running defensive fairy, but something like Life Orb Hatterene comes in on Moon and Moon's forced out, it gets a Trick Room, you're taking 2 KOs.
That's very good.
And I just this team doesn't deal with counterattacks to me, and I'm realized like I think it's quite fun that it has 4 potential like hyper offense leads. I think Tusk, Dio, Tinkerton, and Glamora all do that quite well. Yeah. But yeah, either you run it like hyper offense and you just go straight into bulk up Zarude, DD Knight, DD Moon, and then bulk up spin Tusk or something. But I don't know. I really didn't like this thing. If I was in like a situation where someone was like, "Oh, can you help me mock with this?" and I was given this team, I'd be like, "Jesus, where do I start?"
I guess.
And maybe I just don't see the vision, but I'm really not a fan.
Yeah, you might be right. I don't know. I might be overrated because I really respect Free as a player, and I almost considered putting him in D1 almost after winning the offseason. But I don't know. I think the vision I see is that this team is so strong and so fast, like paced, that you should be able to handle most things. I might be overrating Tinkerton a bit, but I do really respect Tinkerton as I'm on. I don't know. I think as long as this team can keep its momentum up and keep the game plan going, I don't see any reason why it can't win games repeatedly.
I mean, given that I think we both agree that they have to play this at a really fast pace, right? Which is gonna
this team is a hyper offense team so much. Like this team cannot function defensively. Your pivots are Tink, Tusk, Dio, I guess like Roost, D-Knight, Amp, which none of those are really great for what
the thing with hyper offense to me is it doesn't work as a style of a whole draft. It can work as like a one-off match thing, but I don't think it works as style as a whole draft because hyper offense games tend to put so much on the opening 5 turns, and if you're doing that every single game, then it's not going to be consistent.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so, as good as Dio is as the lead hazards mon, it's gonna when you can see it coming, you're gonna have matchups where you can play around it through one thing or another. You can get something that can take it down to potential sash and then get a spin KO, or you can.
I can see that.
There's. Yeah, but anyway, I feel like I've been a bit more negative to deliberately try and counteract how high you put it because as I say, I really don't agree. But I don't hate it. Yeah, I think it actually looks really fun to use. I just don't think it'll yield results off the strength of the roster.
Yeah, I probably overrated a bit, but let's move on to number 10, which we have Don Plynum, who I had really well when you had towards the middle. So why don't you go into what you like about this team?
Yeah, this is the team that I changed the position on the most. I had it as low as 13th at one point, and I put it up a lot higher because basically I was looking at it next to the other teams I had put in 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and I was like, I'd rather use Don Platinum's. And the simple reason is that even though from round 6 onwards he basically decided he didn't need anything else, including round 6, I think the top 5 is just really, really good game to game. I think it's really solid and it does everything you need to. I'm a huge fan of adaptability and flexibility in draft. I'm a huge fan of things that let you control the game and the game state. I think that Feeney and Pharaoh do that wonderfully in just 2 slots. I think Terra Annihilate is awesome. I think Raikou is pretty good partner for both it and Gouging Fire. And I like the Feeney support for Annihilate and Ferrothorn in particular. It's a bit naff for Gouging Fire, but generally it's alright.
I mean, Gouging Fire I don't get more than Dragon moves anyway, and not being able to be toxic through T-Wave is helpful. There will be situations where he wants to click a Dragon move and terrain will be up, but I think those will be fewer and far further between than we would think.
No, I mean making it harder to run Will-O-Wisp.
Oh, it doesn't get Will.
That
doesn't get Will. If this thing got
does
Will,
it not?
It will be banned.
Does it really not?
No, thank God. If this thing got Will, it would not be legal.
Why the hell does it not get? Okay,
Because it
never
will be
mind. Okay,
broken.
well I've.
That's why.
But they gave it. I can't see how they can give it Burning Bulwark and not Willow.
I
But
think the reason they gave
I
it that
don't
is to
know.
have a way to burn without being broken will on this thing.
I guess so. Um, but yeah. Anyway, I think that Muck through to Toucannon are varying degrees of not real Pokemon.
Muck's real, but
I
there's
think Muck is. Yeah, but it's not round 6.
no, it's not on 6. Yeah,
Cryogonal is usable with Terra, and Gyarados I really like, but it does the exact same thing you're going to want to do with Gouging Fire a lot of the time.
yeah.
And so I don't really see it. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I've probably covered a few of the things you didn't like about it, but I guess you didn't rate the top 5 quite as much.
Well, I do like the top 5. I don't like that this is a 6-mon team basically. Except
Yeah.
Muck comes sometimes. It's like it's a 6-mon team, which is something that I think makes it a lot easier to prep for. Also, this team feels kind of slow to
Yeah.
me. Like, your fast ones are what, Raikou, Cryogonal, which Raikou's fine. Cryogonal's bad. With or without Terra, I think it's terrible.
I think Annihilate and Raikou are both good Scarfers.
They're
Albeit
fine,
they don't
yeah.
want to run it all the time, but they're both
They're
definitely
fine,
usable.
yeah. I don't know. That's my biggest gripe was like no speed, only 6 real mons, and also you need to make a Gara pretty early for like ghosts, but that's not the end of the world. Max speed 115 isn't the worst when Raikou's a decent Scarfer, but I know that was a bit of a sticking point to me. I feel like the fact that this team only has really 7 viable mons and Muck can maybe come to half your games at most is a real limiter for me. Claydol and
Yeah.
Cryo have, I guess, Fee a pretty good debugger, but with Pharaoh, you want to keep the spikes up that it sets.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
and then you can, like, your spinners are not coming very often, if at all. So, I think that's a
To
little
be honest,
counterintuitive there. I do think Taboo Finny, Ferrovorn, and Iop is an insane defensive variant because then you can't toxic or burn the Iop, which is huge. I know, like, I think there's good synergy here. I just really wish. I really wish some of the. What is it? Some of the low tiers just condensed. I wish like Claydol, Spideops, Cryo, Toucan were condensed into like two. Well, I guess it can't be 1 mon to be legal, but 2 mons.
yeah.
No,
I mean,
I know.
I
Don has
really,
done well
I
with
think that
these, so with like these teams without that fast, but I know. I still don't
I
have that
think
much
that
faith
the
in it.
biggest, very simple thing he could do is just to make the Cryo Terra.
That
Like, I think that would
over
make a really
Raikou, I
nice difference.
suppose.
I think so. I think Raikou doesn't need as much as
That's
Annihilate
fair.
benefits from it.
I guess I don't respect Cryo either way, but I guess that might help a little bit. But I feel like with a Cryogonal, you're just always going to want to tear the Annihilate anyway.
That's true, but I think in certain games, if you have like a really, really difficult matchup against some big special threat,
I
I'm
could see that,
blanking
yeah.
something like Enamorous or something,
I
which
guess.
is pretty scary for this
I
team,
mean, yeah,
then
but then
it
can't
does
you
help
just
you
run
cover for it.
like Spadef, Terra, Annihilate and deal with it? Nice. I'm gonna say I'd say 130. My rule is 119 is like what I like as elite speed at minimum. But I don't know, this team is like good. I think it's above the teams I put below it for sure. I think it's just gonna have to bring the same moms every week, which is a bit rough, even when they are all good mons.
I agree, but I also think that they have enough flexibility and difference in sets that it doesn't make it.
That
It's
linear,
like predictable, but it's not that linear.
I
Yeah.
can see that. Yeah, I probably put this a little too low, but I do, and I think this team is solid for sure.
Mm.
I just think a lot of the teams above it
Yeah.
are higher and have more flexibility than this one does, and that's kind of a big thing for me.
Yeah, I think I looked at it actually, and Muck, Claydol, sorry, I think it was just Claydol, Spidops, Cryogonal, and Toucannon all together cost like 9 points. And so I don't see why that couldn't have been an 8-point mon and
In
like
a
a
1
1
pointer,
point
yeah, I can see it. That would
shitter.
have been much better.
And yeah.
Get like a real spinner for like 8. You know, this team, I mean, webs are cool on this team, I guess. Because Annihilate is defog prevention, gouging fire, uses them really well. But like, I don't think Gyarados is like, okay, web user. I don't know. I feel like they aren't really necessary. If they were, I feel like just got combined like Claydol, Cryo, Toucan, something, and then in Spy House just grab a shitty 1 point Weber. I don't think Spy House provides his team over that. Wayne already has spike support from Ferrothorn.
Yeah, and also I clearly when you got Spidops, they did a good decent amount of points left because you still took Cryogonal and Mega Gyarados, so I don't see how Spidops could have been the best choice.
Yeah,
at
Mega
that point in
Gyarados
time.
is okay here. I don't love Mega Gyarados here, honestly. I think it doesn't fit super well. I think it's fine here. but I don't really like it
I
as
mean,
a
it likes
dark.
the misty terrain,
Yeah,
but
I don't
the
love it as the
synergies
dark
just
though, because it doesn't start as a dark
no.
type too.
I'm with you. Yeah.
I don't know. I think this team is pretty middle of the pack. I think we ended up with a pretty good average for this.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, sure, Gar's a Quackleval replacement, but like, it still like we're just gonna comment on what was picked, not what would have been. But yeah, like this team's solid.
Yeah.
I think we end up by a good average for it.
Mm.
Okay. You also done, yeah, Matrix, we did, and you did well. So hopefully you do well again, because I want to be proven wrong. I always want to be proven wrong.
That's what we want to see. I just feel like seeing good Mons played. So
Yeah, that's all I care about.
if I'm sleeping on people, then good.
And they do well, good. Anyway, let's get number 9 going, which is DD, who you had again towards the top. I had kind of towards the middle. So why don't you go into what you like about this team?
I think the little pattern recognition thing in the back of my brain started blinking as soon as I saw Mega Scizor Hydreigon Slowbro, which I absolutely love. I think it's a really, really good trio. I think in terms of approaching this team as a sort of a balanced go the distance kind of thing, which even in Gen 9 I do still think is the way to play. This team does it really well, even if it is lacking a bit of special bulk, to be honest. I think Zeraora complements Enamorus and Hydreigon really nicely. And Enamorus is just crazy good. It's really, really irritating. And so, yeah, I think that it's just going to be very consistent and it's going to be really, really long lived. The biggest negative I had was, and it's a bit long winded, but special breakers that Scizor, Slowbro, or Tangrowth don't resist the stabs of, or if they can hit them with coverage or something, are going to be really, really scary.
I mean,
like I know you know
already, thank God, but
But I mean, I wrote out like a few that I was worried about for this team, and I say Lando I saw immediately, but
HP Fire Kyurem.
Yeah, Iron Valiant, Ursaluna Blood Moon I thought would be really, really scary here. Spexgren Mega Diancie because of HP Fire. That's going to be really, really scary, to be honest. And so I think that with those last 3 mons, they could have gone with something. Oh, to be honest, instead of Tangrowth. Because at that point, with Slowbro, Mega Scizor, you don't really need the Tang. So you could have gone with something a bit more specially bulky there, I think.
Yeah, I know. I disagree about defense being the way to play this gen. I think offense takes priority. I think it's still good to have bulk, but I think offense is a lot stronger as being previous gens. I will say this. Normally, I don't harp on speed tiers, but God, this speed gap is rough. Like everything from like 121 through 142 can run boosting, which is like a lot of things that are really damn scary. That was a bit, like I normally don't think speed tiers mean shit, but here they really do. They really do.
Yeah.
Also, missing some key Gen 9 things for me. No spikes, no encore are both pretty big. Encore is kind of important. It seems like your answers to bullshit are kind of few and far between. Like you got what like Taunt Zera, Roar Mudsdale, Haze Skuntank, but like if something starts staying up and gets going, like you do not stop it. It's almost
no. You make a fair point. I'd also kind of was a bit concerned about Zeraora being the flying resist.
I was about to mention that,
now, it does so happen that this division, doesn't have that many people drafting flying type threats. I think the only one was Teratorn T, which, to be honest, a little bit scary here. But even more generally, with Terra being what it is, and things like Zapdos still being out there.
Also, Hazy, there are 2 rockers. Hydreigon gets rocks now. So Hydreigon and Mudsdale both have rocks.
Mm.
And
although Mudsdale isn't coming every week, and Hydreigon... I mean, it does limit you from running things like... Actually, no, you're not going to want to run Specs Hydra all the time, because it's going to be Specs and Amorous, isn't it?
Yeah,
if you can afford it.
Like, it does... And, like, yes, it does, obviously, want run offense all the time, but Hydra's not a bad rock with, like, rocks... roost stabs or whatever. It's pretty good at that role.
Yeah. This team is also complete Kyurem bundle food.
Yeah, but it feels like every team's that Kyurem bundle food, though.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I remember last season I had in my notes about Kieran Bundle, and I realized I wrote it on like every team bar one, and then I realized
those
it's
mons are
just
just
Kieran
hard to
Bundle is
deal with.
stupid.
That's why they're so good. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I like this team. We both kind of point towards the middle, which I think is correct. I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the point actually about Scizor as the fairy resist. I mean,
Yeah,
having
every major
fairy
fairy does.
coverage,
A lot of the
fire
fairies
coverage
do
on
have fire
fairies is,
coverage. I mean, the biggest one that has fire
but,
coverage is the Namorous, which he already has.
but it's besides the point because there's hidden power fire in this,
There
and
is, but
strong enough
Scizor is
fairies
the
just gonna
bulk to
bust through
take
you
in
anyway.
HP fire from most fairies and force them out with BP, and then like he can roost it off. So I think generally it can work. I don't think, if I remember, it's not
Yeah,
O-code by Timid, Mega Nancy, HP Fire, I'm pretty sure. But I don't remember the calc off the top of my head. But I do think it
yeah.
is
I mean,
relevant
can
if
it
fairies are
take it
annoying.
after like a Diamond Storm?
I mean, if it gets the
Because if
diamond,
there's a Diamond Storm boost, you take the bullet
I guess
punch,
probably
and
not.
then
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah. But
This team is a bit fair
even
weak. I
so,
do agree with that. Having one of the best fairies itself is good, but I don't know. Why no
yeah, it's a good
Terraflarion?
way of
Because
dealing with it.
Terraflarion is now a real Mongrim.
I also really would have liked a fighting type here
Oh yeah, fighting
somewhere.
type would
I
have been
think
great on this
basically every
team.
roster benefits really highly from a fighting type, but
Breaking down
yeah.
steals. Well, oops, no. How do I pin that message? How do I unpin? Wait, here's steal. No, how do I unpin him? Unpin. What the fuck? How do I do that? Whatever.
Oh,
Anyway,
you got it, I think.
yeah, I fixed it. All right. Yeah. I I don't know. I still don't know how I feel about this fully. Like, I think it's solid. I think it will work. It feels like a DD to me, having seen his previous drafts.
Mm,
I know this.
yeah.
I think he has some holes
It
though.
it could be a little matchup dependent. Just because if your opponent is heavily on physical threats and not so many special ones, or you can handle their one or two special threats, then it's going to be fine. But the special threats are really sort of worrying.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I guess
Yeah.
on to
Also,
our.
the bottom
Okay.
three just.
I like Mudsdale. I like
Sorry.
Skuntank.
No,
I think Skuntank's good this year with knockoff. I think that really helps it. And Toxic Spikes.
yeah.
Flareon's ass though.
I forgot
Flareon
about
is
the
ass.
spikes,
There's
yeah.
no way about that.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Hey, well, I guess on to our top half. We'll start with number 8, which is Enfish, who I had up at fifth,
Ooh,
and you
yes.
had. I had up at fifth, and you had towards the middle. Let me get up on this.
I would like to preface my opinion with this is the opposite of Dom Platinum's in the sense that I started with this one much higher and I ended up winding it down.
Yeah.
I think this is the same as the last roster in that. Oh no, sorry, not the last roster. I forget the one with Cryogonal and Spidops and that. In that there's a bit of a spam of non-mons here. Towards the bottom,
Arbok,
which
Golem, Chargebug aren't real. I agree with that. I think there's 8 viable mons.
you rate Spiritomb?
I rate Spiritomb, yes.
Okay,
I guess,
I must say I can't.
Arbok is like okay. It's not great. It's usable. It's bad, but
Yeah.
it's usable. It's not as good as Swalot, but it's
Yeah.
usable. I know. I like the mons a lot. The top mons a lot. I think Palvin, Ogerpon, Kyurem, Ursula Moon is an insane offensive core. Yuxi is a great just. Yuxi and Klefki are amazing. Just switch into anything and neuter them, which is really good.
Yeah.
T-Flame is solid
Yeah.
here for what it does. I like Spiritomb. I think that mon is still decent. It's been power crept a little, but I think it's still usable. I don't get the Golem charge. I get Arbok for a ground poison. His team doesn't like T-Spikes, but I don't know. I generally like this team a lot.
Yeah.
The only I didn't really have any criticism for it. I think it's just pretty good overall.
Yeah, I mean,
I like Palvin Ogerpon.
I wrote in my note.
Palvin Ogerpon Kyurem is a nasty pairing, by the way. Those three are insane core.
I mean, the offensive side of this is really, really good, and Yuxi is a naive sort of perfect fit for the. Oh, shit, I dropped something. Miriam. Perfect fit for the kind of role you want it to do. I will say, if this roster didn't have Klefki, I would be putting it even lower than I did.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because I think that it really badly needs it for
Klefki's a big glue piece here.
You know. Yeah. To be honest, I'd argue that it's strong enough that Talonflame may not even come that much. If the matchup works for the top 4, then you're going with Yuxi Klefki. I think Talonflame's less important than both of them. That's it. I mean, it's really, really threatening. But one of the biggest things that I like is consistency, and this team just doesn't feel as consistent. But that's generally how I feel about more aggressive teams. So that might be a me thing, but I would feel a little bit like this team. If this team starts getting bad luck in a game, and there's a little bit of hacks. Maybe something gets paralyzed. Maybe Ogerpon gets paralyzed by a Thunderbolt or something stupid. It's not got many backup plans, I don't think.
I suppose. I
Um,
could see that.
which, yeah. But I mean, don't get me wrong. This is the kind of team where you see you've got it next week, and you're like, "Oh my god, why?" And you're gonna have a nightmare with prep, because it is really, really threatening, and it's going to outspeed your offensive pieces with either Jet Punch or with Terra Ogerpon, and it's got setup, it's got incredible choice options, it's got cleaning. It's just for me. I like a bit more of a backbone.
I guess Yuxi and Klefki have really impressed me all gen. I think those two mons are both insanely good at just checking anything in the game, like no matter what you need to check.
Oh, it just occurred to me that both of them get screens as well.
Both of them are screens, both in the T-Wave, both Yuxi gets Encore and Yawn, Klefki gets like a bunch of ram bullshit. I really think those two can glue the team together really well. I'm biased because those are two of my favorite support mons this gen. I think they're both amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think Team Wave also fits really well here.
Well.
I know. I think this just feels like a really good Gen 9 team to me, with strong offense, good pivots to deal with it, to deal with anything that's threatening you, decent speed at backups and T-Flame, and like Spiritomb and Arbok for bad matchups. I don't know what Gold and Chargebug are doing, but
yeah. Would you agree with the criticism that Yuxi can never Terra because without Terra Ogerpon, this team's way too slow?
Yes. Yuxi can't ever Terra, but Yuxi was a free Terra, so who cares? It didn't cost 8 points.
Oh, was it? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, Ogerpon Terra's broken though, so
Yeah, Ogerpon's that thing is
all
ridiculous.
The Ogerpons of Terra are wild. Yeah, Yuxi was fine about Terra anyway. It was just like there's no reason not to because it was free. So like, why not do it?
Yeah. No, I didn't realize it was free Terra. I was under the impression you put extra points into it when it was just never gonna happen.
Or free. Well, I don't know what I'm trying to use.
Yeah.
I know. I like this team a lot. I think it feels like a very Gen 9 team, but it definitely does have. It needs a lot of well played moments to shine.
Yeah, sure.
Yuxi maybe could have been taxed. I don't think it's a terrible. If it was taxed, it would have been one at most.
Yeah. I think that things that don't abuse Terra offensively that hard tend to be hard to justify that you're going to put them up too much.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you can do Terra Fairy, Carmine Draining Kiss stuff, but that's not that incredible.
It's not going to come very often, in that role.
No.
Hey, on to number 7, we have Porpoise, who I had up at 4 view and 9, so we both had decent position. I really like this team, except it feels like I love the top 5 as a set. I love the top 5 together. I think they're amazing. I think Skarm and Neo Queen also really support the top 3 very well, which is great. I just feel like the bottom 4 are kind of worthless. I guess like Rombi's okay. Yeah. This team doesn't hate webs. Doesn't hate like using webs because like Raging Bull and Neo Queen are both great bruisers. Muck has fallen off so much, but the terrain recovery helps it. Sinchio's bad. I'm sorry, Sinchio's bad. It's not a good mon. It's his only real move, which is a bit rough. Because like, you are not running defog on Bomber or Skarm Race, so that does hurt the bundle a lot. I think Skarm is a really good fit here, though.
No, I do like it. I railed on Hazards a little bit, as I tend to. Nido Queen and Skarm being the only rockers. They're both great rockers, don't get me wrong. But then neither of them really want to be pigeonholed into it. I mean,
Skarm is
because they want to run the other Hazards.
That's fair, I guess.
Is what I'm trying to say. I don't think this team has its fighting and rock resists, if paired with Earthquake, is a bit worrisome. Nice. I think that Nido Queen can struggle with just repeated fighting hits in general, which means that this is a bit worrying. And also, there is no special bulk to be found outside of a little mug, which is a bit worrying as well, to be honest.
Fat in general. But I can see what you're talking about.
Well, it is, but it's not going to switch into. I mean, I've wrote here that in this division there is Terra Namorous, Terra Manaphy, Terra Taunty, Terra Tapu Lele, and all of them go absolutely ham.
I agree with Hazy that Brilla and Bolt are both great, really good AV users, but I do see your point. A lot of special attackers are very frightening into this team.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm with you in that Rilla Bolt is really, really good offensively. You get the priority off both, which is huge. Bundle's great with them. Absolutely. Skarm Nidoqueen is a very, very sort of compact, if you like, way of giving a lot of support, a lot of defensive backbone. Um, but yeah, the default thing is
That's
really
rough.
bad. Especially, I think this team would have loved a spinner.
Oh yeah, for
because you
sure.
don't want to be
Spare would
getting
have
rid
been
of
great
Skarm
also.
and Nidoqueen's progress.
This team would have loved a spare. Spare would have been
But
awesome for sure. I think my
yeah,
biggest
Nidoqueen
criticism
is hype. I love
was
Nidoqueen.
that you have to bring one of the bottom four every game. And there are a lot of matchups where you
Yeah.
do not want to bring any of them.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of think that Tauros is actually decent here.
It's
Like,
fine,
it's
but
not
it's not the
incredible,
mon you want
but
mon that wants to come to every matchup.
no, but it it doesn't want to come to every matchup. But you could do a lot worse synergy wise.
That's
I
true.
think.
Yeah. I
Um,
that like
yeah.
bottom four not being great and lack of spin were my only real problems I had with this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the last thing was I don't see how this roster goes from like defense to offense, if you like, without really risky switches or sacks. I because the defensive pivoting is
There's
not
not many.
really
Yeah,
it. I mean,
Series
you're
lacking a little bit in pivoting defensively. I get that.
yeah, the like a bulky Rillaboom with U-turn could be it, but that's mostly it.
And like voltage
I
raging ball, I
think.
guess I can see what you're saying there. That could prove to be a bit of an issue.
Yeah, yeah. I might be just conditioned to thinking of Raging Bolt as always being specs or booster stuff, so maybe I'm being a bit narrow-minded, but yeah.
I can see what you're saying. But yeah, it definitely is forced a bit more into the defense for once some matches on this team, which isn't ideal.
No, true.
Yep. Hey, let's get on to number 6, which is Iceman, who you had up at all the way up at third. I had down 9th. So why don't you go into all you like on this?
Yeah, sure. Pult Lele is stupid, and with Sneasler it's stupider. I remember last season the Lele Sneasler team. You really didn't like, and I remember thinking about that when we did this.
I do like this
The
one
reason
for the
why
record.
I
I like this one for the record.
do okay. The reason why I liked it was because a pet peeve of mine is when people put Sneasler on a team with terrain and just that'll work like automatically and that'll just do its job anyway. This team doesn't assume that, and I think it does really, really good things in supporting Sneasler to get the most out of its offensive typing to support Pult. I mean, every Pult check is getting battered by Sneasler.
Of course.
And Lele is just a disgusting breaker in general. I think that the pivoting provided by Pult and Sneasler, I think Poison Touch could be really good here in a lot of games because it's not necessary to run Unburden. I think that pivoting alone is just going to let you spread a lot of chip. I think that chip would be much, much, much better off if there were more hazards somewhere. I in your top 6, which the bottom 3 are kind of naff. Your top 6, you've got. It's fine, but if you're looking for game-to-game consistent hazards, you're bringing that or you're bringing Crook as your rocks, that's right? Fair. And neither of them are top-tier rockers. Roselia can bring spikes, but you are not doing that often.
I love Roselia.
Smiggle
is a mon that does not come very often. I love this mon. It does not come like more than half the games at most.
No. And so, if you're going to be U-turning around with Pult and Sneasler, you want to be doing it with Stealth Rock Up or Spikes, and that's a bit of a shame. Also, Core of Aloe is really, really, really good. The problem is, when you look at the electric types that you would presumably want to use Crook to check because it fills in the gap, they all slaughter Crook. So, yeah. I mean, at a glance, looking at the teams, Raging Bolt is scary, Coco's scary. You've got Zapdos, it can't really deal with at all. What other electric types we've gotten here? Fundy.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I think this team's offense synergizes really, really well, and I can see it going from defense to attack really, really smoothly. I just thought that the options were a little bit too limited for its sort of utility options, which is why I couldn't put it higher. But I think that Pult, Lele, Sneasler is just so stupid.
Looking again, a lot of my notes are kind of whack. I don't know why, but it's so well. My notes don't really make sense. I'm looking at this. I know. I like these teams really solid. I kind of all the points you brought up are pretty much the same I was thinking. Like, I'm not sure why I put it this well, legitimately. I really should double check these, baby. This team's pretty solid. Like, I like all the mons. I my Smeargle. I think Smeargle's dog shit.
Yeah.
I think overall the team's really good. I think the mons, like you said, the monster goes super well. And like, outside that like little bolt beam problem, like other than that, I really like this team. I think
Yeah.
maybe having another rocker would be okay, but these two are fine at doing it. Like they both don't mind slotting rocks at any given week.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that's
think this
fair.
team's
I
really
mean,
good. It probably should be a bit higher on my end for sure.
yeah. Yeah, no, I'm just with you. I really like, by the way, how good this team is at abusing Future Sight Lele.
Oh yeah, this team
Which I think
is great on here.
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be really, really consistent damage. I think this team could be a bit bulky, especially. But that being said, AV Aloe tends to be deceptively good at it, and AV Lele is a pretty good mon as well, especially with wish support. So, you'd probably be able to get by in a number of matchups.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine. I think this team's quite solid.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get on to our top 5 now. We have Hazy, who I had only at 3rd. You had an 8th, so I'll sign this one. This team, I mean, let me start this. I really think, well, first thing, all 9 mons are great here. Like, every mon's liable. Porygon's kind of whack, but, like, it does what they need it to do on this team. Okay, well, we are not factoring in FAs for PRs. But anyway, Terra Lando isn't like the most insane top tier, but I really do like it a lot. Gren, Necro are both great mons. You have good pivots in hands, defensive Necro, Fat Lando, Bronzong.
Yeah.
All like good mons. Good offense, good defense, good hazards. I just thought this team was really good. I didn't really see any issues. I wish there was a bit more priority on this team outside the Gren. Like, Gren's really a priority, but Water isn't, like, the amazing type for that. I guess you have, like, this Prankster Wound Scout, which helps.
You got, Prankster Tailwind, that's going to save you.
But, yeah, that helps a bit. It's the booster off. I don't know, I just really like this team. I didn't see many things I disliked about it. I wish there was a better second Terra with Lando, because I don't think Lando is necessarily the mon that you want to Terra every game, but, like, overall, I really, really like this team. I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Lando with, the offense synergy with Gren, Hans, Moth. I think this team's got some of the best, like, setup sweeping late game options you could want. Like, the cleaners is really, really strong. Most of my reasons why I put lower than you, which, to reiterate, I like this roster. I put it 8th, but there are strong rosters everywhere, so... It's so reliant on Bronzong. Bronzong was the only normal resist, only flying resist, only ice resist with any bulk at all. It is your only EQ resist. Hang on. Only rock resist outside of Iron Hands, which is EQ weak. Only fairy resist with any bulk, and only dragon resist outside of Whimsicott. So it has got an absolute ton on its plate, and while it's good at that, it's not. I don't know. I don't think it's good enough at it necessarily. And so I think that this team is going to need Lando and Bronzong more often than not to be buffers to give its offense time to get going and get its sweepers going, which it's going to be really good at. But I just think that there's a little bit too much weight on a little bit too few shoulders.
I can see that, but overall, I do think this team is really cracked. I think overall it's really good.
Yeah, no, I agree with it being really, really good. I just, I need to be the bad cop to your good cop on some of these teams, so I got to be a villain a bit. Oh, actually, to be fair, I don't really understand the Porygon thing. To be honest,
it's just a ghost switch, and it's not great, but it's okay.
Is that okay? I don't know if it did something extra that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah. No, not really. It's just like a good ghost. Just.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep.
Anyway, this team actually, I feel like it'd be. I was just going to say really quickly. I think this team would be really good for bringing out the creativity in Hazy.
Oh, for sure. I think is very versatile.
Yeah, I think it's the kind of team where it can really mess you up with a couple of, offbeat sets. I mean, the versatility in terms of what you can run with even simple stuff like Scarf versus Spec versus Life Orb or Booster for both Gren and Moth is really big difference. You got Scarf Meds, which is incredible. Necrozma is terrifying and horrifying, and just I have nightmares. So yeah, I think the sheer amount of game enders and the game enders that can also act as breakers just makes this team really, really,
Sure, terrifying.
really
Yeah.
comfortable to build with. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to build with this. It's like super fun to use too.
Hmm.
Okay, let's go on to number 4, which is Knighton, who you had all the way up at second. I had down 8th. So why don't you go first on this one?
Cool. Yeah, I need to find my notes because. Oh yeah, well I remember my first note when I saw this was how the hell are we living in a world where Darkrai is pick 3,
That's
an
pretty
end
funny.
of
Yeah.
pick 3. Knighton was like 14th or
It was
15th
pretty
pick.
way in the order. Yeah.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. I thought that this team was really, really solid. Basically, I thought that it's just going to be very effective most any weeks. I think the offense is really nice. Darkrai Ogerpon is going to hit more or less anything really effectively. You've got great sweeping potential in both. I like Darkrai and Heatran both as Scarfers. I think Cyclozar is really underrated. I think it's excellent. Clod Screamtail is going to cover most things. The Wish is great. I don't really get the Terra Flamigo, but I don't think it needs to be gotten here. I think it's fine without it. Something that did make me laugh a little bit with this team is that I'm pretty sure Walrein is only there to be an Iron Bundle check, which otherwise absolutely shreds everything.
Which is fair.
But if it checks Iron Bundle, then you know what, it's done its job. So
I guess
that'd be
so.
funny.
Although, does Bundle even break Screamtail? I'm not sure. It might. I'm not sure.
With Encore, it might.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, I mean, I used to see a bit lower, but I still really like the team. I think most of the ones are rated. I did wish it. Lack of power was kind of annoying for me because even you have Darkrai, like I guess Scarf Darkrai is like pretty decent. I didn't think about Scarf Darkrai. Quads, I don't like Quads at all. It's super passive, and I don't think with Screamtail, which is also kind of passive outside Encore, it makes a defense core that can be abused very well, especially if like a Miles a Mental Orb or something.
Okay.
That's really I do. Also, any Pokemon turning into like poison is kind of real, which is really weird, but it's kind of annoying because Clodsire and Screamtail again, both just are so weak. I guess Wellspring kind of helps break that, but I don't. Generally, I like this team. I just head towards the middle because I didn't think it was as good as some of the other ones, but it's still a really good team.
Yeah, I think I maybe put it a little bit high. To be fair, it's very inoffensive in a lot of ways in terms of Heatran, Clod, Screamtail. It's hard to point to anything directly wrong with that, but you can get better. I think Ogerpon Wellspring with Terra is ridiculously good. I'm using it in
It's
Mighty
crazy.
Cleave.
Yeah, I've been wanting to try it. I'm not getting an
it is
opportunity
stupid.
yet, but it's crazy.
Yeah, and so it was that. It was the round 3 Darkrai,
Round
which
for
I think
Darkrai's great, of
Darkrai's
course.
ridiculously slept on. No pun intended. But yeah, no, I really like it, to be honest. I think yeah, maybe I'll put it a little bit high. Maybe something like third or fourth would be better, but I still rank it.
Yeah, I can see that. Wait, Sparkling Hydra, who are you? You said you're top. I don't know. I thought you were Hazy because it's Hazy. Who are you, Sparkling Hydra? Which like, person are you? Shit. And it also won't let me. Shit. Right there we go. Oh, random. That's okay. You're random. Gotcha. That helps. I thought you were Hazy all the time. It's Hazy's tag is Hazy Hydra. Right. Wait, let's get on to top number 3. Wait, random. You aren't in this division. You are in this division. You're in Hydro's team. That will be later.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're. So you aren't in this division. Yeah, well, yeah, but Grim didn't say he was top 3. Anyway.
Oh no, he means that like the
Oh,
top 3 in this roster is satisfying. I
okay. Oh,
think.
that's what he meant. Oh, okay, I see what he means. Yeah, I misunderstood. Gotcha. Okay. Anyway,
Yeah.
on to number 3, which is Jean Paul. You had all the way at the top, and Endless.
Yeah.
I mean, why is it? And I had at 7th. So why did you think this is the
Yeah.
best team in the division?
Because it's super super easy to pilot and it's just really effective. It's not the most creative team, to be honest. It's been done before, the top 5
I mean,
especially, but the problem is really really good.
the top 6 is really good.
And
So.
yeah, Dom Fan I don't think is on quite the same level as the others, but I do rate it. I think it's a really good mon.
Yeah.
I don't know if you needed Serena with Don Fan, but I can see its use. I think Terra Taunti is crazy and it can cover basically anything if it wants to, which is really handy. Mega Glade is great, as everyone knows, and yeah, Hisuian Samrock Goldengo is tried and true as well. I can see this team being able to deal with more or less any matchup, and its game plan is so consistent, and it's consistent because it's so hard to stop. Like, it's gonna really, really put a handle into anyone who tries to deal with it defensively, and offensively, it's got the options of a couple of really good scarfers. You got Unaware Clef for some anti-bullshit stuff, and Mega Gallade tends to be able to tangle even with faster offensive teams. I don't think the bottom three do that much, to be honest, but I'm not sure they necessarily need to because this is just really, really consistent.
Yeah, I really
So,
like this team. I probably maybe could put it a little higher. I don't. I think it's just like it's just very consistent, very good. Like never all of it. The speak after 110 to 85 is a bit awkward, but it's not the end of the world. Like there's some months that can abuse it, but not most things. Um,
mm,
I no ground poison is a bit weird, but it doesn't really matter. I was like Samurott, and I guess Unaware Clef, but like it's fine. I
yeah,
really like this team. I think it's really strong. I like the few other teams better, but it seems very good. No doubt about it.
yeah. Yeah, I will say this was Team 16 in the draft order, and when I got to this, because it was the last one I looked at,
Torn late at
my brain
16
kind of
is
was
insane.
immediately like, yeah. But when I've looked at it, I was kind of immediately like, yeah, this is like I knew fairly soon this is the one I wanted top because it's just I don't know. I think the top four on its own is just so
It is
much
very
offensive
good,
presence
yes.
with really, really like deceptively good defensive presence as well. Not so deceptive with Torn, but
Well,
you know
Golden goes fat.
it can.
Hisui and Samurai can take sponge resisted hits pretty well as a decent defensive typing.
Yeah, and it's pretty decent AV user as well,
Yeah,
actually.
for sure. That's probably
Um,
my favorite Samson is actually AV.
yeah, Clef I think is a really good fit as well.
I think
So
it fits here.
maybe a
I don't
dragon
rate
could have been
Clef that
nice on
much this
here.
gym, but it fits really well here. I definitely underrated this team a bit.
Yeah, I think its stats are a bit power crept.
Well,
I mean, I
it
know
does
they've
what it
always
needs to
looked
do on
power
this
crept,
team.
but yeah, no,
Yeah,
definitely.
but this team's just great. Not much else to say about it.
Yeah, I basically just thought it was the one. It was the team I would want to play with and prep
This
with and
looks
draft with
super
the
fun to
most. It
draft
was
with.
the
Yeah, it's very true.
so
Even though I'm
yeah.
not a Golden Go fan, it
That's
does look.
me.
It's a good Golden Go team. So yep.
It's
Let's.
embarrassing. I've still not used Golden Go
I
ever.
used it once and I hated it, but also it was like my second week of Gen 9. I had no idea what I was doing. So
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, let's get on to number 2, which is Tark, who I had second, you had it fourth. So we both had very high for Tark. And wow, this team
Hmm.
is holy shit. I
Yeah,
mean,
this
we've
one was
got
funny,
look at the
wasn't it?
Mons. I mean, outside the Aridos, it's 8 really good Mons, great hazards, great removal, great breaking, great queening, great bulk. Like holy shit.
Yeah,
My
I
only
mean,
issue is like
the both.
rock types are kind of scary, like in Dusk and like Terrakion and the Hill Girl kind of problematic. But other than in like Gameplay and Dancy, but other than that, like that was my one critique on the team was I think offensive rocks are gonna be real hard to deal with. But other than that, like holy shit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd throw in offensive flyings as well because
Flying's already been
Rotom
only
Mosh
but
isn't.
I mean Rotom can check most of
It's,
them pretty well.
it can, but it's the thing with flyings is they can. A lot of them can tack on, flying Terra Blast onto an otherwise very good Pokemon as well, like
That's
something
true.
like an Amorous, and then you're looking a little bit worrisome. Same for something like Lando T as well, which was Terra in this division. So but like, there's a reason why I put it fourth and you put it second. It's really, really, really good. It's
Yeah.
really scary at every angle. The defense is very proactive, which is
what
really
I
nice.
really love about every defensive mod is making progress here.
Yeah, definitely.
Like Gliscor,
I
Rotom,
thought,
Hisui, and Kovish are all constantly forcing progress, which is gigantic.
yeah. I'm really not sure on if I like the hazards here because Gliscor is almost on its own ridiculously good hazard bot, but it's got the same problem as a lot of hazard setters that are really good mons in general because they don't want to always do hazards, and the same goes for Terrapagos and Spin.
That's true.
So
But he has really good defoggers, to
while
be
they
fair.
are, yeah, 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 true. I think the removal is not quite so bad. I think it's more that I worry a little bit about Gliscor having rocks and spikes on it constantly when you want to sometimes be doing SDEQ facade stuff or
Yeah.
U-turn knockoff
I
stuff
can
or
see that.
that kind of thing.
But yeah, overall it seems really
Yeah,
good. Like there's not much to say. It's just
yeah,
a great team.
yeah. On my pros, because I had a pros and cons thing in my notes. On my pros, I just wrote, "You won't need notes on this one. Its pros are self-evident and it's awesome."
Mm.
So yeah,
Yep.
we didn't even talk about Terra Victini.
I mean,
That's how.
because what else? I mean, it's crazy. There's so much on here is already good. Like, what do you even mention?
Yeah.
It's like, what do you need to be said, really?
Yeah. I mean, maybe I know neither of us are huge fans of speed tiers, but they are a little bit broad. But yeah,
I think it's
I don't
fine.
think it's too bad. The priority of Sizzle helps make up for it
For
massively.
sure. And
And
Valiant having
the
vacuum wave
speed
as well.
boosting options.
Valiant having vacuum wave as
I
well.
forget it gets that, yeah. But also the strength of Scarf Victini, of Boost to Valiant, of
It's so
Spin
good.
to Rapagos. The speed's not probably going to be too bad
Yeah, this
at all.
team is just fantastic.
Mm.
Okay. And on to number 1, who has already figured it out in chat. We have Nidus, who, oh my god.
Yeah.
This team is beautiful. It's just goddamn beautiful. I had it first, I had it 5th. I don't know. I legitimately had no critiques for this team. I love this team so much. Like,
Yeah.
the Mons are great. Got really good hazards at the bomb, too. Really good removal in your 2 defoggers and your spinner. Great defense. Amazing offense with Deancey, Quack. We value even like offensive Petra and Moltres. Like,
Yeah.
all these Mons are crazy. I mean, he's used Max's Force. Like, he knows how it works. I don't think it's a very good Mon, but like, he can make it do stuff. And like, really good Terras.
Yeah.
Quack and Petra are a really good pairing, especially because like, Quack doesn't need to Terra every game, so Petramon can then be able to, Terra if you want it to, because Quack doesn't need it. I don't know. I just think every Mon is crazy. I think round 3 Shaman was a little weird. Round 4, Mons looks really out of order, but you got a round 6 we've out round 8 Tinglu, so you got rewarded anyway. So who cares?
Yeah, this roster's kind of weird because it's full of Pokemon that normally don't quite fit because their typings are a bit funny or they're harder to fit, but they fit really well with each other here.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really, really cleverly crafted. The reason why I had it a bit lower, and I did actually have this top at one point as well, to be fair, is that I had it the same thing as a couple of other rosters where I didn't know if the high points of this team were as high as the high points of other
I
teams.
see that.
And so I'm a massive fan of teams that put the matchup in the hands of the player, and this team does that probably more than any team. Like, it's not going to carry you, but you will always have the tools to win, which I love.
That's true.
But that said, it's beyond Terra Quackleval. There isn't really a sort of I'm shitting myself because this is going to slaughter me on its own sort of thing, you know? That said, Weavile Pursuit with Quackleval is really scary and really good. I really like the presence of Tinglu with Moltres. I think that's a really, really good pairing. And yeah, you've got a lot of phasing around, which I think a lot of people sort of pass on a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I really like it. And to be honest, looking at my list again, how I ordered it purely on my side, this could have been 1 or 2 higher for sure. I still maintain that I think John Paul's is top, but I completely understand why you put Nidus there.
Yeah, so this is an amazing team, and yeah, great job, Nidus. Well, if that will wrap up for this division. I will be back later in about just under 6 hours for Hydro's team. So thank you everyone for joining us. I'm gonna start you now. I'll post the VOD later. Have a good day and see y'all in 6 hours.
See you later, guys.